Elias Crow was a quiet farmer who lived alone on a small piece of land far away from any town. His life was simple, but also full of problems. His crops did not grow well, his barn roof leaked every time it rained, and his money was almost finished. He had lost his left arm many years ago in a farm accident, and after that, people treated him differently. Some felt sorry for him, others avoided him. No one stayed with him for long. Elias wanted only one thing in life: someone who would not leave him. But he never expected that someone to come from another world. A few months before, Elias had secretly joined an alien companion service. It was something lonely people used when they wanted a partner but could not find one on their own world. Elias knew it sounded strange, but he was tired of eating alone, working alone, and sleeping alone. He did not look for beauty or strength. He just wanted a person who would talk to him, sit with him, and help him feel human again. He paid all the money he had left, and the service promised to send a companion from a distant star. They did not tell him her name. They did not show her picture. They only told him the date and time she would arrive. That night finally came. The sky was dark, and the wind pushed dust across the empty field. Elias sat outside on an old wooden chair, staring up. There were no lights, no sound, just silence. For a moment, he wondered if the service had lied to him. Maybe there was no alien woman. Maybe he had wasted his last coins on a foolish dream. He sighed and closed his eyes. Then the sky changed. A bright blue streak cut across the darkness like a burning line. It moved fast, too fast for any plane or ship he knew. The ground under his feet began to shake. The air grew warm, as if fire was moving above the clouds. Elias stood up, heart pounding. "This is it," he whispered. The light grew stronger and stronger, until the whole field glowed. A strange humming sound filled the night. It was deep, almost like a drum inside the earth. Elias took a step back as the streak slowed down, lowered itself, and began to land on his field. Grass and soil pushed outward from the force. Dust rose in circles. The blue light faded into a soft silver glow, and slowly, very slowly, the ship settled on the ground. Elias stared with wide eyes. He had never seen anything like it. The craft was long and smooth, with no windows, no doors, no wings. It looked like a silver seed dropped from the sky. For a few seconds, nothing moved. Then a line appeared in the middle of the ship, thin, bright, and growing wider. A door was opening. Elias stepped back again. His hands shook. He could not run even if he wanted to. His legs felt frozen. A shadow appeared at the doorway. A figure Dachi stepped out slowly. At first, Elias thought she was covered in light. But no, her skin itself glowed faintly, like moonlight on water. She was tall, with long hair that shimmered between silver and blue. Strange glowing patterns moved along her arms and neck, like soft lines of energy. Her eyes were bright, even brighter than the stars behind her. She held a metal chest in her hands. It was small, but looked very heavy. She held it tightly against her body, almost protectively. For a long moment, she just looked at Elias, and Elias looked back. He had expected fear. But instead, he felt something else: curiosity, confusion, and an odd sense of calm, as if she had been meant to arrive here on this broken farm, in front of this broken man. Finally, she took a breath and spoke. Her voice soft but clear. Elias Crow. Hearing his name from her lips surprised him. "Yes," he said quietly. I'm Elias. Us. She stepped closer. Not too close, just enough to show she was not afraid. "My name is Lyra," she said. "I was sent to you." Elias nodded, unsure what else to do. I know. I mean, yes, I ordered." He stopped, suddenly embarrassed. Lyra did not smile. Her expression was serious, almost tense. She held the chest even tighter. Elias noticed her eyes move around the field, checking every corner, every shadow, as if she expected danger. "I need to enter your home," she said softly. "Now." Elias blinked. "Is something wrong?" Lyra looked at him, and for the first time her calm voice cracked. "They followed me." A cold shiver ran down Elias's spine. "Who followed you?" Lyra stepped closer and whispered, her voice shaking for the first time. "The ones who want what I carry. If they find us, we will not survive the night." Elias stared at the metal chest in her arms. He did not know what she carried. He did not know why she came in fear, but he knew one thing. His life would never be the same again, and the night was just beginning. Elias led Lyra into his small farmhouse. The wooden door creaked as he pushed it open, and a soft, warm light from an oil lamp lit the room. Lyra stepped inside carefully, her glowing skin making the old walls look strange and unfamiliar. She still held the metal chest tight against her chest, gripping it as if it was the most important thing in the universe. Elias tried to calm his breathing. He had expected an alien woman. He had not expected fear in her eyes, or hunters following her. She walked to the center of the room and stood still, eyes scanning every window, every shadow, every dark corner. Her body moved with caution. Like someone who had been running for too long, Elias gathered his courage and asked softly, "Are you in danger?" Lyra did not look at him. Her voice was low. "Not only me. You too, if you stay near me." He swallowed. "I don't understand. Why would anyone follow you here? This is just a small farm." She finally turned and looked at him. Her silver blue eyes were full of worry. "They are not here for me," she said. "They are here for this." She lowered her head slightly and tapped the metal chest. Elias stared at the box. It was small, black, and made of metal he had never seen before. It had no lock, no buttons, no hinges. But glowing symbols moved across its surface like soft, breathing light. It looked alive. "What is inside it?" he asked. Lyra did not answer right away. She walked to the window and watched the dark field outside. Her hands trembled slightly. "They chased me across 3 star systems," she finally whispered. "They destroyed my shipyard. They burned my home colony. All for what lies inside this chest." Elias felt his heart thump harder. She turned back to him, her voice almost shaking now. "I stole it from them. It was never theirs to take. And if they reach your planet and open it, they will bring death to everything you know." A cold chill ran through Elias's body. He stepped back without meaning to. "Death," he repeated. "From that small box." Lyra nodded slowly. Elias tried to understand her words. But everything felt unreal. A one-armed farmer standing in his old wooden house, listening to an alien woman talk about star systems, burning colonies, and a deadly treasure inside a glowing chest. He rubbed his face. "This is too much," he whispered. Lyra stepped closer, lowering her voice. "I need you to trust me. I came to your world because it is quiet. Forgotten, they would not expect me here. But they will find me sooner or later." Elias wanted to trust her, but fear grew inside his heart. "You said they followed you. How close are they?" Lyra closed her eyes, focusing. The glowing patterns on her arms flickered slightly. "They are near. Maybe on the edge of your land. Maybe only minutes away." Elias felt his breath get stuck in his throat. "Here, now." She nodded. He looked at the chest again. "What is inside it?" "I need to know." Lyra hesitated for a long moment. Her hands tightened around the chest as if she feared even speaking about it. "It holds 3 star seeds," she finally said. Elias blinked. "Star seeds. They are not seeds like your plants," she explained. They are ancient energy cores. They can grow life on dead planets. They can also destroy worlds if used wrong. They are the most valuable things ever found by any species. Elias stared at her in shock. You brought that here? To my farm. Why? Her eyes softened for the first time. Because I needed a place where no one would search, she said gently. A quiet world. A hidden one. Your order. Your request for a companion. It gave me the perfect reason to come. Elias understood now. She had chosen him not because of who he was, but because no one cared about his small, forgotten life. He felt a sting in his chest. But before he could speak, Lyra suddenly stiffened. Her eyes snapped toward the door. Someone is outside. She whispered. Elias froze. A slow, heavy thud sounded from the porch. Then another. Lyra grabbed his arm, pulling him back from the window. Her voice was sharp now. They found us. The oil lamp flickered. Shadows moved just beyond the door. Elias could hear deep breathing. Something not human. Lyra held the chest close and said in a low, trembling voice, If they take the starseeds, your planet will not see another sunrise. The room fell silent. Elias, a simple, one-armed farmer, realized he was standing at the edge of a galactic war he never asked for. And outside his door, the enemy was already here. The sound outside the door grew heavier. Slow steps, dragging across the old wood porch. Elias felt each step like a weight on his chest. His heart beat so loudly, he thought the creatures might hear it from inside. Lyra held the metal chest close to her body, almost hugging it. Her glowing skin dimmed slightly, as if she was trying to hide her light. Her breath was fast, sharp. Elias realized she was just as afraid as he was. A deep scraping noise ran across the outside wall like claws or metal dragging. Elias felt a chill spread up his spine. Whatever was out there was not human. Lyra stepped back, pushing Elias gently behind her, even though he was much bigger. They are hunters, she whispered. Not soldiers. Not guards. Hunters. Elias swallowed hard. What? What do they hunt? Lyra looked at him with a heavy gaze. Anything that stands between them and the starseeds. The scraping stopped silence. Then a loud, heavy punch smashed into the door. Elias jumped. The door bent inward, wood cracking around the hinges. Another strike. Another crack. They're breaking in, Elias whispered. Lyra grabbed his good arm and pulled him toward the kitchen. Follow me. We cannot stay here. Elias didn't argue. His whole body shook as he followed her through the dark house. She moved quickly, almost gliding across the floor. She knew exactly where the danger was coming from, like she could feel it. Behind them, the door finally gave in with a loud crash. Something stepped. Inside, Elias dared to look back. A tall shape stood in the broken doorway. Its body was covered in bone-like armor plates, sharp and rough. Its eyes glowed red like burning coal. It was breathing heavily, each breath sounding like a growl mixed with metal grinding dot. Another creature stepped in behind the first. Taller, stronger. Its back had long bone spines that curved outward. Their heads turned slowly, sniffing the air like animals searching for prey. Elias felt frozen. A simple farmer facing monsters he never imagined existed. Lyra whispered, "Keep moving." Her voice was steady now, even though her hands shook. She opened a hidden trapdoor in the kitchen floor. Elias didn't even know it was there. The trapdoor led to a small underground storage cellar used for potatoes and old tools. They slipped inside and closed it quietly. Darkness wrapped around them. The only light came from Lyra's soft, glowing skin. Above them, the hunters walked through the house. Their heavy steps creaked across the floors. They yanked furniture aside, broke shelves, and sniffed loudly, trying to catch Lyra's scent. Elias could hear his own heartbeat echoing in the small cellar. He tried to breathe quietly, but fear made his breaths short and shaky. Lyra leaned close to him. They can sense fear. Do not breathe too fast. He tried. He failed. The hunter spoke in a strange, rough language, deep sounds echoing like thunder. Elias couldn't understand a single word, but he understood their tone: anger, impatience, hunger. One of them stomped near the trapdoor. Lyra slowly reached out and placed her hand on the chest. The glowing symbols on it brightened and moved faster, like they were reacting to danger. Elias whispered, "What are they doing?" "Searching the whole house." "They know I am close," Lyra said. "They always know." The hunter stopped right above the trapdoor. It sniffed. Its claws tapped the wood. Elias held his breath. For a moment, everything was silent. Elias thought maybe they would leave. Then the hunter slammed its foot down on the trapdoor. The cellar shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Elias grabbed Lyra's arm in panic, but the wood somehow held. Lyra leaned close to his ear. "They cannot break this door easily. Your planet's wood is strong." The hunter stomped again. The trapdoor cracked slightly. Elias whispered, "Strong enough." Lyra didn't answer. Above them, the second hunter shouted something in its own language. The first one growled back, then slowly moved away. Footsteps faded. Elias felt a little relief, but only a little. Lyra touched the chest again. "We cannot stay hidden. When they finish searching, they will burn the house." "Burn it," Elias whispered. "Why?" Lyra's eyes darkened. "To make you come out, or to destroy all traces of us." Elias felt cold sweat on his neck. He had lived his whole life on this farm. Now it might be turned into ash because of something he didn't even understand. Lyra moved closer to him. Her voice softened for the first time. "I am sorry, Elias. I never wanted danger to touch your life." Elias stared at her glowing skin, her frightened eyes, the heavy chest she held so tightly. He didn't fully trust her yet, but he knew one thing. If they stayed inside this cellar, they would die. He nodded slowly. "Tell me what to do." Lyra looked at him with a mix of fear and respect. "We run," she whispered, "into the night." Above them, the hunters roared. The chase had only just begun. Elias pushed the trapdoor open slowly, listening for footsteps. The house was quiet, now too quiet. The hunters had moved to the far rooms, breaking everything in their path. Elias could hear glass shatter, wood splinter, and strange growls echo through the walls. Lyra climbed out first, holding the metal chest close. Her glowing patterns dimmed so she looked almost like a normal human in the darkness. Elias followed, careful with his steps. His whole body felt weak from fear, but he forced himself to stay steady. "We need to reach the backfield," Lyra whispered. "They rarely check open spaces. They think we will hide inside." Elias nodded and led her toward the back door. But before they could escape, a sharp thump echoed from the hallway. The hunters had moved closer. Lyra's eyes widened. "We don't have time." Elias looked at the chest she carried so protectively. It still glowed softly, symbols dancing across its surface like living light. He had been silent long enough. They needed answers. "Before we go out there," Elias whispered, "you must tell me what's inside that thing. I'm risking my life for it. I need to know why." Lyra hesitated. Her hands clutched the chest tightly. For a moment, she looked as if she wanted to lie or say nothing. But then, something changed in her expression. A tired sadness passed over her face. "You deserve to know," she said softly. Elias closed the door behind them and crouched next to her on the kitchen floor. The night outside was dark. Only moonlight bleeding through the windows. Lyra placed the chest between them. The glowing symbols brightened at her touch, as if recognizing her. "This is the last thing my people ever created," she whispered. "The last gift. The last hope." Elias frowned. "What do you mean?" Lyra rested a hand on the chest, her fingers trembling. "A long time ago, before I was born, my world began to die. Our oceans dried. Our forests burned. Our skies turned to smoke." She swallowed hard. "We lost everything, except our science." Elias listened quietly. He had never heard her speak this much before. "The greatest minds of my people created these," she continued. 3 star seeds, capable of restoring life to dead planets. They can remake oceans, forests, even air. They hold power no weapon can match. Elias blinked. "So, this chest carries something that can bring life." Lyra nodded slowly. "And destruction," she added. "If someone with dark intentions uses them, they can drain a world, turn it to dust, make a planet collapse from the inside." Elias's eyes widened. "How can one thing do both?" "Life and death are twins," Lyra said quietly. "The same force that grows mountains can crush them. The same energy that creates a river can wipe out a city." Elias looked down at the chest. Something so small, something so dangerous. "And the hunters?" he asked. Lyra's voice sharpened. "They want to sell the starseeds to the highest bidder. They don't care if a world dies, as long as they get paid." Elias shook his head slowly. "Then why did you take them? Why bring them here?" Lyra's breath caught. Her eyes lowered. "They were going to use them on helpless worlds," she whispered. "Poor planets with no defenses. And they planned to test the first one on my home colony." Elias felt his chest tighten. "So you took them to save your people." A sad smile touched her lips. "My people are already gone." Her voice broke slightly. "They wiped out our colony before I arrived with the seeds. I am the last one left." Elias stared at her. He had lost family too. He knew that kind of pain. But her pain was deeper galaxies deep. He reached out with his one good arm and placed his hand gently on her shoulder. "I'm sorry," he whispered. For a moment, Lyra closed her eyes. Then thunderous roar cut through the house. The hunters had returned to the kitchen. Elias jerked back. Lyra grabbed the chest and stood. "They're close," she whispered. "Too close." Elias moved toward the back door, but Lyra grabbed his wrist. "No," she said. "If we run now, they will chase us through the open field. They will catch us in seconds. Then what do we do?" Elias whispered urgently. Lyra took a deep breath. "We open the chest." Elias stared at her in shock. "Open it. Here, now." Lyra nodded. "It won't harm you," she whispered. "But it will show you what we're facing, and give us a chance." The hunter's footsteps grew louder, thick, heavy, angry. Lyra placed the chest on the floor. The glowing symbols spun faster. She pressed her hand onto it. The box reacted instantly. Light burst out, filling the kitchen with bright blue energy. Elias shielded his eyes, his heart pounding. The chest opened. Inside 3 glowing orbs floated gently in the air, each one shining like a small star. "The star seeds," Elias gasped. The room filled with soft, warm light, beautiful and terrifying at the same time. And then a shadow moved outside the window. The hunters had found them. The chest hummed louder. Lyra whispered, "Now you know the truth. And now we fight for it." The glowing star seeds floated in the air like 3 small suns. Their warm light spread across the kitchen, pushing away the darkness. Elias stared at them in disbelief. They were beautiful, too beautiful to belong in his old wooden house. But the beauty didn't last. Outside, the hunters roared. The window frame shook. The floor vibrated under their heavy steps. Lyra closed the chest quickly, and the light disappeared, leaving only the faint glow of her skin. "They know the seeds are open," she whispered. "They can sense the energy. They will not stop now." Elias took a deep breath to control his shaking. "So what do we do?" Lyra looked at him with tired eyes. They were filled with fear, and something else he hadn't seen before: guilt. "I never wanted to bring danger to your home," she said softly. "I chose this place because I thought it would be safe, because you were alone, because no one would look for us here." Elias felt a sting. "Because I was weak." "No," she said quickly. "Because you were forgotten. And forgotten places are the safest." Elias lowered his head. Being forgotten was not something he was proud of, but now that same forgotten life had placed him in the path of hunters from another world. Another loud crash hit the wall. The hunters were getting closer. Lyra grabbed Elias's arm. "We cannot run blindly. We need a plan." Elias looked around. Broken and falling apart. But he knew every corner of it. Every ditch, every hidden hole, every weak spot in the ground. A sudden idea formed in his mind. "I might know how to slow them down," he whispered. Lyra blinked. "How?" Elias pointed toward the backfield. "There is an old irrigation pit. It's deep, covered with thin wood and soil. If we run across it, the hunters will fall through." Lyra looked impressed for a moment. "You have traps." Elias almost laughed. "No, they were accidents. My land is just old and dangerous." "Good," Lyra said. "Then it will help us." Another roar shook the kitchen window. Elias stepped closer to her. "But if we escape, where do we go? This is my whole world." Lyra hesitated. She looked at the chest in her hands, at the weight of her people's last hope. "My world is gone," she whispered. "I have no home left. I have nothing except these seeds. I've had the mistake of bringing them here." Elias looked at her glowing patterns, her tired eyes, her shaking hands. She wasn't a powerful alien warrior. She wasn't a criminal. She was someone who had lost everything, just like him. He touched her arm gently. "You're not alone anymore." Lyra's eyes softened. For a moment, the fear faded, and something warm passed between them. The sound of shattering glass ended that moment instantly. The hunters were inside. Lyra grabbed the chest, holding it tightly. "We must go now." Elias nodded. He opened the back door quietly. Cold night air rushed in. The moonlight made the field look silver and endless. They stepped outside. Elias pointed to the far side of the field. "The pit is near that old oak tree. Stay close." Lyra nodded, her glowing patterns brightening as adrenaline surged through her. They ran. The grass brushed their legs. Elias breathed hard from the fear and sudden movement. Lyra ran smoothly beside him, even with the heavy chest in her arms. Behind them, loud roar shook the fields. The hunters had found the open door. Elias didn't look back. He focused on the oak tree. "Just a little farther." Lyra whispered breathlessly. "Are they close?" Elias didn't answer. He didn't have to. The ground behind them thundered as the hunters sprinted across the field. They were faster than Elias expected. Their heavy feet crushed the grass. Their low growls grew louder with each passing second. Faster. Lyra urged. Elias pushed himself harder. His legs burned. His arms swung wildly. His chest felt tight, but he didn't stop. The oak tree was close now. Very close. "Here." Elias gasped. They reached the spot. Elias jumped across the thin layer of soil covering the deep pit. His foot almost sank, but he landed safely on the other side. Lyra followed. Light and quick. Then the first hunter reached the pit. It stepped onto the weak soil land, the ground instantly collapsed. The hunter dropped with a earth-shaking roar, falling deep into the pit. Dirt and wood crashed down on top of it. The second hunter didn't stop. It leaped over the hole and landed in front of Elias and Lyra. Elias fell backward. Lyra held the chest like a shield, her eyes wide. The hunter growled, its red eyes burning, its bone armor rattling. This one was smarter, stronger, deadlier. It stepped forward. Elias had no weapon. Lyra had no strength left. But as the hunter approached, Lyra looked at Elias, and something changed in her face. A calmness, a choice. "We face it together," she whispered. Elias nodded. "Together." And in that moment, two broken souls who had lost everything stood side by side against a monster from another world. The fight for survival was about to begin. The second hunter stepped forward, its bone armor glowing faintly under the moonlight. Its sharp red eyes locked on the metal chest in Lyra's hands. Each step it took made the ground vibrate, as if the earth itself feared the creature. Elias felt his legs weaken. He had no weapon, no armor, no plan, just his one arm, and Lyra. Lyra's breathing was shaky, but her eyes burned with determination. She held the chest close, ready to protect it with her life. The hunter growled, lowering itself like a wild animal preparing to strike. Elias whispered, "We can't outrun it." Lyra nodded. "Then we stand." The hunter lunged. Elias jumped sideways, but its large hand caught his shirt, tearing it. He rolled on the grass, dirt filling his mouth. Lyra dodged left, moving with surprising speed. The hunter missed her, but only by inches. It roared in frustration. Elias forced himself to his feet, chest burning. He looked around desperately. The old barn was near. Inside were rusted farm tools, nothing good enough to kill a monster, but maybe something could slow it down. "Lyra!" he shouted. "This way." Lyra followed him toward the barn. The hunter chased them, each step shaking the wooden walls. Elias pushed the barn door open and grabbed the first tool he saw, heavy metal pitchfork. It felt clumsy in his hand, but it was all he had. Lyra stood beside him, chest in one arm, the other hand glowing faintly with blue energy. Elias wondered if she had powers, but her body looked too weak, too tired to use them. The hunter burst into the barn, smashing through wood like it was paper. Hay scattered everywhere. Dust filled the air. Elias pointed the pitchfork at the beast. The hunter laughed a deep, cruel sound. It charged. Elias thrust the pitchfork forward. The metal tips struck the creature's chest, but the bone armor was too strong. The pitchfork bent like soft wire. The hunter swatted Elias away with a backhand strike. Elias hit the ground hard and rolled into a pile of hay. His ribs screamed with pain. His vision blurred. Lyra screamed. "Elias?" The hunter turned toward her. She raised her hand. Weak blue light shot forward, but it flickered, dying midair. She gasped and fell to one knee. Her energy was gone. The hunter grinned, bone fangs showing between its jaws. It reached for her. Elias forced himself up, coughing. He saw something behind the hunter, on old chain hanging from the ceiling, attached to a heavy hayloader machine. Rusty, but strong enough. "Lyra!" Elias shouted. "Get to me." Lyra didn't hesitate. She slid under the hunter's arm, ran to Elias, and collapsed next to him. The hunter spun around, growling angrily. Elias grabbed the chain with his good hand and pulled with everything he had. The machine creaked, then moved. The heavy loader swung forward. Crash. Metal slammed into the hunter's head, knocking it sideways. It roared in pain, crashing onto the barn floor. But it wasn't dead. It stood up again, shaking off the dust, eyes burning brighter. Lyra whispered, "It won't stop." Elias looked at her, breathing hard. What do we do? She placed the chest on the ground. We use the seeds. Elias stared at her. Use them? How? You said they can destroy planets. Lyra touched the glowing symbols. Used carefully, they can protect. They can push away danger. But it will take all the energy I have left. Her hands trembled violently. But I will do it. The hunter roared and charged again. Lyra pressed her hand onto the chest. Light exploded from it, bright blue, blinding. Elias shielded his eyes. The star seeds shot upward, floating above Lyra's head like small suns. The hunter froze, confused. Lyra rose slowly, her body glowing brighter than before. The symbols along her skin flared like lightning. The seeds spun faster and faster, creating a swirling field of energy around her. Elias stepped back. He had never seen anything so powerful. The hunter screamed and rushed forward. It swung its arm at her, but the spinning energy hit it first. A wave of blue force blasted outward. Throwing the hunter across the barn like a rag doll, it crashed into the wall, broke through the wood, and landed outside in the dirt with a thud that shook the entire field. Lyra fell to her knees, gasping. The seeds dimmed and slowly drifted back into the chest. Elias ran to her. Lyra, are you okay? She nodded weakly. That was all the power I had left. Elias looked outside the broken barn wall. The hunter was down, barely moving. But then its body twitched. It slowly pushed itself up. Lyra's face went pale. This is the strongest one. The leader, Elias, felt fear stab through him. The hunter stood, cracked its neck, and picked up a broken metal beam from the ground like a weapon. Lyra whispered in a broken voice, I cannot fight again. Elias looked at the hunter, then at Lyra, then at the chest. He stepped forward. I'll protect us, he said. Lyra stared at him in shock. You, with one arm. Elias lifted his chin. I've farmed this land with one arm. I've survived my whole life alone. I can survive this too. The hunter roared and charged toward them again, and Elias stepped forward, ready to face a monster with nothing but courage. And the love growing between two broken souls. The hunter charged toward Elias. The broken metal beam raised high like a giant blade. Its growl shook the night air. Elias stood in front of Lyra, legs shaking but eyes steady. He felt fear, deep, cold fear, but he did not move away. He wouldn't leave her, not now. Not after everything. Lyra tried to stand up, but her legs gave out. The star seeds had drained her strength. She reached toward Elias with a trembling hand. Don't, she whispered. Don't face it alone. Elias didn't look back. I'm not, he said softly. I have you. The hunter leaped. Elias dove aside at the last second. The metal beam smashed into the ground where he had stood a heartbeat before, sending dirt flying. Elias rolled across the grass, coughing, gripping his ribs where pain burned sharply. The hunter turned toward him again. Lyra reached for the chest, but her hands shook too much to open it. I can't use them again, she whispered. They'll kill me. Elias forced himself to stand. His body ached, his breath was weak, but his eyes burned with a fire he didn't know he had. He looked at the barn wall, where old tools hung, then at the broken machine parts lying in the dirt, then at the windmill tower behind the hunter. A plan formed. It was crazy, almost impossible, but he had nothing else. Lyra, he whispered, when I say now, do anything you can to distract it. Just for a second. She nodded, even though she looked ready to collapse. The hunter rushed at Elias again. Elias ran toward the windmill tower. His legs burned. His chest screamed. But he didn't stop. The hunter followed faster. Angrier, Elias reached the old windmill ladder and grabbed the rope tied to its gears. He pulled as hard as he could with his single arm. The rope jerked. The old gears groaned loudly. The windmill blades began to spin again. Slow at first, then faster and faster. The hunter was just a few feet away. Lyra now. Lyra raised her hand, not with power, but with whatever energy she had left. A tiny spark of blue light shot from her palm. It wasn't strong. It wasn't bright, but it hit the hunter's face, just enough to make it flinch, just enough to make it look away for half away. Second, just enough. Elias jumped to the side, pulling the rope again. The windmill blade came down hard smash. The massive wooden blade struck the hunter directly in the chest, lifting it off the ground and throwing it across the field. Like a rag doll, it crashed into the dirt with a heavy thud. The windmill creaked loudly. One blade snapped, and the entire structure shook from the impact. Elias gasped for air. Falling to his knees, the hunter didn't move, didn't growl, didn't breathe. Finally, it was over. Lyra crawled toward Elias, dragging the chest. Her hands shook with weakness, but her eyes were full of relief. You saved us, she whispered. Elias let out a long, painful breath. I saved us, he corrected with a tired smile. She reached out and touched his face gently. You're not like the others, she said softly. You're not afraid to stand with someone broken. Elias looked at her, really looked at her, the lost girl from a lost world, carrying the last hope of her people, and still thinking she didn't deserve safety. You're not broken, he whispered. You're brave. Her eyes filled with emotion, but their moment ended when the ground began to rumble. A soft humming sound rose from the chest. Elias tensed. Is it dangerous? Lyra slowly opened the chest. The 3 star seeds floated upward, glowing brighter than ever before. Their light spread across the entire field. What's happening? Elias whispered. They taste the air, Lyra said softly. They sense life. They sense potential. The light reached the soil. The dead grass began to turn green. Flowers sprouted around them. The broken farm that had suffered for years suddenly bloomed with life. Elias stared in awe. Are they? Fixing my land. More than that, Lyra whispered. They're healing it. The star seeds gently returned to the chest, and dimmed the transformation stopped, but it was enough to change everything. Lyra closed the chest and leaned against Elias. I brought danger into your life, she whispered. Yet you protected me. Why? Elias smiled tiredly. Because I finally had someone to protect. Lyra lowered her head, touched by his words. You don't have to be alone anymore, she whispered. If you will have me, I will stay. Elias gently took her hand. I asked for someone who wouldn't leave, he said softly. I didn't know she would fall from the sky. Lyra smiled a real smile, her first since arriving on his world. But before they could speak again, a new light appeared in the sky. Not blue. Not silver. Red. Lyra, single quotes, eyes widened. They weren't the only hunters, she whispered. More are coming. Elias tightened his grip around her hand. Then we face them, he said. Together, and under the glowing stars. The farmer with one arm and the last daughter of a dead world stood side by side, ready to defend the tiny farm that had now become a spark of hope for both their futures.